Episode 2 of Season 3 of the Fanatic Brackets. I am Nick, your host. With me, as always, is my co host, Joelle. For this episode, breaking down the greatest women's match of all time from the Lip Gloss and Ladders podcast. Please welcome Reese. How are you? How's everything?
Oh, good. How are you guys? Thank you guys so much for having me.
No problem. Glad to have you on as well. Glad to have you on. This is an interesting topic. This is, as we said right before we hit record, a lot of intense research.
Yeah.
A lot of great research because there's a lot of great matches that I had to go back and rewatch. But since you chose the topic, is there a reason why you chose this topic? Because it's very interesting, or no?
Because women's wrestling always needs to be highlighted and spotlighted.
Of course,
And I
of
was
I
like,
course.
wait,
respect it. Yeah.
if you're going to have me on the show, why not?
Yeah, of course, of course. Can't wait to break this down. But before we do, for all people watching this episode who have not seen an episode before, the rules are as followed. Obviously, we're going to go matchup by matchup, breaking down each participants. Whichever, in this case, women's match was, we all think personally was better. We'll move on to the next round. Whichever gets 2 or 3 votes, obviously between the three of us, we'll move on to the end, right to reach the finals. There's no specific way to look at it. Whether we enjoyed the match personally, whether it was a 5-star match on Cage Match or 10-star, whatever that match does. There's many different ways to look at it. It's our opinions and our opinions only. So, with all that being said, let's get right into
Let's
the
kick it
bracket.
off.
Reese, we're gonna start off with you with this one, since you're our guest. In your opinion, which match was better between Becky Lynch versus Bianca at WrestleMania 38, or the first Women's Royal Rumble match?
Oh, you guys are coming out hot.
Yeah, that's the theme of these episodes, so you're gonna experience this a lot.
Yeah.
Because of course the first women's rumble, like you had the divas coming back, you had the star power, you had Oscar winning. It was the first ever. It was the first match of that. Then you have Becky versus Bianca after that. Can I curse on here?
Yeah, we do it all the
That
time. Don't worry.
Yeah, we
shitstorm
can.
at
Yeah,
SummerSlam.
Yes.
So it's kind of like Bianca's redemption. Oh, um, I'm gonna go first Women's Rumble because it has a special place
Ooh.
in my heart.
Okay.
I know this is hard. This is hard.
I know, I know. It's again, it's gonna be the theme of this episode. It happens a lot throughout, but that's a good choice, Joel. In your opinion, which match do you think was better, Becky versus Bianca, or the first Women's Rumble?
I love the women's rumble, the first one. It was, to be honest, I think it might be my personal favorite. Just with like the divas coming back and having like that old school diva, new school superstar going at it. It was awesome. But I have to go with Becky Bianca. I feel like
Ooh.
that was the match that solidified Bianca. Like of course we'll go later on when she faced Sasha, but this one was the one that it was like, okay, this is the future of WWE. Like they're putting all the chips in her court. You know what I mean? Like this is all her. And that's why I gotta give it to that match.
Okay,
Also, fire ending with the backflip. Come on.
yeah, oh yes, I forgot about that point in the match. I forgot about that. I'm already in the hot seat, and we just started, which
Yeah,
is
you are in
crazy.
the hot seat.
Um,
Mm,
but if if I were to choose here, both great matches. But I'm gonna have to go with the first Women's Rumble,
Ooh,
mainly
okay.
because, like, yeah, I kind of agree with you, Joel, with this Bianca versus Becky match, but I feel like the Sasha one more was what made Bianca instead of this one.
Okay.
The one before
Yeah.
that was solidified it, but I think the first Women's Rumble was very, very important to the industry, because of everything that happened from the beginning to end, from the build up to it, from like you both said, like a lot of the legends, the previous women's wrestlers that I think was their way of like honoring them. Like, oh,
Yeah.
they paved the way. Here's their spotlight for everything that they've done throughout their years. The right winner won with Asuka, even though everything after that is a whole different conversation. With how she lost at Mania.
We
Um,
don't talk about that. We don't
we're
talk
not talking
about
about it.
that.
I
Yeah.
left that
what
off
away.
the list for a reason.
Sorry, my fault, my
There's a
fault. But
reason why it's not
Oh,
there,
sorry,
Nick.
yeah. My apologies. But the whole surprise of Ronda Rousey afterwards too was pretty incredible.
Oh yeah, I even
Cause
forgot
like,
about that.
yeah, cause like I know there
Rowdy
were
Ronda.
rumblings. Yeah, No, there was rumblings about it, but we thought she would have been like at least a surprise entrant that year. But she came out afterwards. But I just think the whole build up and booking of this first Royal Rumble was perfect from start to end. It was exactly how it needed to be booked as the first Women's Rumble, and again, the importance of it and how it was built up was, I think, perfect for and how it needed to be, as I should say.
Yeah.
So, the first Women's Rumble has to be one of the greatest women's matches there is. But
Very true.
next matchup, Joel, we're going to start off with you in this one. We have Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch on a March 2024 edition of Raw versus Mercedes Moné versus Statlander at World's End last year. Which one do you think was a better match?
Both great matches in their own different way. But I have to go with Monet and Statlander. Liv and Becky was more storyline driven, like it had more story to it and more of it to play out, but I just felt like the match itself ended climatically, like just with the man bomb. Is that what she calls it? Man slam? So what the rock bottom shit she does.
Oh,
That's how it ended. And it was just like I didn't really like it. But Monet and Statlander, it was a classic AEW fast paced match. Them going like balls to the wall. It was a great match, great spots. One of the spots I wanted to bring up was I totally forgot this happened until I was watching it. The backslide that they were going like back and forth, try to backslide, pin each other, and then somehow, some way, Statlander turned it into a package power driver, and I totally forgot about that spot. And I was like, holy shit! Like seeing it for the first time, like I guess I missed it when the match was actually going on. But there was a lot of moments like that in the Monet and Statlander match, so that's why I gotta give it to them.
Good pick, Reese. Throwing it back to you. Which match do you think was better between these two?
After rewatching this match, I actually have to agree. Which I didn't think I would agree with any of the AEW picks. I'm gonna be very honest here. I did not think I would. But I think because I'm not new to AEW. I've been watching it, but I don't watch it as often as I watch WWE.
Yeah.
It really put Statlander on my radar. She was already on my radar, but it really was like, oh, I need to watch more of you. Like, I've only seen a couple of matches. I'm like, oh, I need to watch more of you. Okay. Because I was a little confused at first. I know she was with the best friends who I don't know why they're best friends.
Yeah. No story behind that one.
So I was like, okay, but I was like, oh.
Yeah,
I should be aware.
Somebody gotta keep an eye on.
Exactly.
I should be aware of you. So I am going to agree here.
I mean, if both of you agreed on this one, then I'm going to agree with it as well. I think both matches they had last year were I would say matches of the year in AEW, or at least women's wrestling. But this one was, from what I remember, this was the one that was the 20-minute that went over 20 minutes. That was the first 20-minute match they had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that one was to be able to trust those two to go on full 20 minutes and put on a banger of a match. Really, it really showed how great, like Reese said, it really showed how great Statlander was, even though she had many good matches before. And after this match, I feel like a lot of people wanted to see more, not just out of both of them individually, but both of them against each other. So I think that, even though it should happen soon, but I think that speaks for itself. The fact that people want more out of these two. And it'll probably be going on like that for a while. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Monet and Statlander on this one. They clean sweep Liv versus Becky. So I'm gonna start off this next one because
kick it off, Nick.
Serena D versus Thunder Rosa. I believe it was at a Dynamite in May of 2022 versus Asuka versus Ember Moon at Takeover Brooklyn 3. For I believe it was the NXT Women's Championship.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with Asuka versus Ember Moon because I think this was the match for me personally that really put Ember on the map. She had a great feud, and this is the second match they had, which is the first one. Because I know they had
first one, I believe.
The first one, right? Yeah.
This was like Ember, like coming into this, she was like the up and comer.
Yes.
She was trying to defeat the streak, so yeah.
And I think
this was the first one.
Yeah, because I remember. Yes, now I remember this was the first one because I remember, like I remember thinking when I was watching, like, oh, this could be the one to she could be the one to defeat Asuka, the
Mhm.
more believable
Yeah.
one, because they have had I think she had a fatal 4-way ladder match, and then she had many other matches against different people, but I feel like they truly built up Ember to be the one to dethrone Asuka.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and these two also had great
Same.
chemistry together. So I like Monet and Statlander. These two had great chemistry. Um, I think that was also a reason why they gave Ember Moon a second chance to face Asuka, because people wanted more out of it. Um, so it was just a fantastic performance. This feud in general, I would say, showcased Ember to be where she is today as the longest reigning Ring of Honor Women's Championship. So this was the start, in my opinion, of Ember Moon. So I'm going to shout out this match. Reese, I want to go with you. Which match do you think was better between the two?
Definitely Oscar and Moon. This is I was following Ember when she was Athena before getting to WWE. That was kind of like my first introduction into like the indies, and I was like, I really connected with Ember because like she was one of the first people I had really followed from the indies to NXT,
NXT.
and to see her like excel against Asuka, I did also think that she would be the one to just thrown Asuka, which is also why that WrestleMania match makes me so mad.
Yeah.
And then because it was like, okay, well, she relinquished the title undefeated, so we could have had Ember Moon beat her. Like, I just
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%.
like we could
And
have had Ember Moon
yeah.
beat her. So
And she was the one that won that vacant championship, right? She was the one
yes,
that was her.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So it would have made more sense to do that, but
we're gonna end the streak.
even more
So
reason to be mad at that. Even more.
yeah,
So yeah, good choice. I mean, it was a good match. It was a good match. Joel, kick it off here. Do we get a clean sweep or do we go Thunder Rosa versus Serena
A,
Deep?
1,000% clean sweep. Shout out Thunder Rosa and Deep. I watched the
yes,
match. Great match.
absolutely.
It's a technical match though. It's a very slow paced wrestling, chain wrestling kind of match. Oscar and Ember was just a different timing. This was like at this time when this match happened, this was the greatest match that ever happened in NXT women's history.
Yeah,
It was one of those that they actually made you believe Ember was gonna win. I remember because this was the Brooklyn takeover. I was actually at this show,
I was gonna
and
ask.
people
Yeah,
thought like, "Yo, it's Ember!" Like all the way, and there was so many forced finishes that made you believe, "Oh, she could actually do it." That put her on another level after this match was over. So I think that, like you said, this was the beginning of the Ember Moon that we know today as Athena.
Mm, mm.
exactly, exactly. Another
And
clean
I
sweep. Yeah,
Yeah,
go
and
ahead.
I
Sorry.
agree. She should have beat her for the
Robbed,
undefeated.
robbed for that
Yeah,
moment.
it's crazy.
I could
Like
write a dissertation on this.
Yeah,
no, a thousand
yeah.
percent, 1,000%.
Now I feel bad bringing up that WrestleMania moment. Now I feel really bad about
No,
that
don't
Listen,
worry
that
about
WrestleMania
one.
moment, whoever booked it should feel bad about it. Okay,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. True.
because that
That
was
is true.
horrible.
Very horrible. Very horrible. Next matchup we have is Hikaru Shida versus Jamie Hayter on a December 2022 edition of Dynamite versus Shida versus Nyla Rose at AEW Double Nothing at 2020. Joel, we're gonna start off with you with this one. Which one of these two was the better match?
Sheeta and Hater. Sheeta and
Ooh,
Hater made Sheeta and Rose look like a dark match. I don't even know. It was they were just on another level. Like and just being stiff with each other and actually like back and forth. Fantastic match, fantastic finish. This was like Hater like when she was hot coming in. She was the world champion. You know what I mean? Like this was for that match to be on Dynamite is insane to me. Then I watched the Sheeta and Rose. Great match. But compared to this to Sheeta and Hater, doesn't compare.
ooh. Okay. Okay. Reese, do you want to do the next one? Which one do you think was the better match between these two? You want me to go first?
yeah.
Sure, sure.
Oh wait. Ooh. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry. That's it. So I'm gonna choose the other one. I'm gonna choose Sheeta versus Nyla Rose.
What? Now I'm fucking with
No,
you.
no. Hear my reason. Hear me out. So
Let's hear it.
I think this was a great underdog story for Sheeta.
She don't. Yeah.
Um because this was a no DQ match. It was very
Mhm.
fun, plenty of cool spots. A great story that was told for Sheeta when trying to defeat Nyla Rose because Rose is someone who's much bigger than Sheeta, much stronger than Sheeta. I don't want to say like it's comparing this to Asuka in NXT to where like it's unbelievable to no one to beat her, but like it was a great told underdog story to be like,
Yes.
okay, this is Sheeta. Now people are gonna love Sheeta for this, and I believe this is way before Jamie Hayter even got there. So
Yeah, way before.
and
Way before.
so it was like the Jamie Hayter story before Jamie Hayter, and Nyla. Let me tell you, she works well with everybody. Like she can put on a. She's one of those people that you can put her in a match against like anything or anyone. She'll make them look good. Put
Yeah,
on a
that was
five.
dope.
Yeah, I don't want to say the 5-star match she could, but she can work and she's a
Good
great
chemistry.
worker.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I want to give shout out to Nyla Rose because she's amazing and she could work against anybody. So it was a fun match. That's what I was looking for. The fun match. Yeah, even though Hayter versus Sheeta was more technical, and I agree with you with Joel, it should have been a pay-per-view, but
That match was ridiculous.
it was. It was. I think that was the start of Hayter's career for as a singles run. But
Yeah, because she was the champion at the time. I think that match to me showed why Sheeta was the champion for a year.
yeah,
And then it also showed why Hayter took it off of her and why she's the future. You know what I mean? Like it was one of those matches that showed both ways and brought out both of their strengths.
yeah, that is true. That is true. Reese, you're the tiebreaker here.
In the hot seat.
I'm sorry. I think I have to also go Sheeta Hater. I'm a technical wrestling girly.
Here we go, Reese.
Again, as it happened at the time when again I just started caring about like Jamie Hater because I was like, wait,
Yeah,
she's why? Like
yeah,
not why like I'm confused, but like, oh, I need to figure out why.
Yeah.
And so I think that's oh my god, I think I'll be a tiebreaker there. Okay.
yeah. Because this was your. I would say this was your. That match was the reason for you to care about Hayter. You would say, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, shout out
Um,
Hater, man. She's
yeah,
dope.
she's also a good worker. She's also go back
She's
to
awesome. Yeah, thank
yeah,
goodness she's
I
back,
think
man.
when she came back, she should have definitely came back to bigger pomp and circumstance. But
Yeah,
yeah. That
as former
raw.
champion, you should have came back pomp and circumstance.
Yeah, I
exactly.
mean, return on a pre-show, and then just still hasn't gone back for the championship, even though her last match was the championship.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully soon it comes full circle. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, hopefully soon this year, but who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, next matchup we have Naomi versus Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship on a February 2022 edition of SmackDown versus Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa Lights Out match in a March 2021 edition of AEW Dynamite. This was the St. Patrick's Day edition.
Yeah.
Joel, I'm going to start with you with this one. Which match do you think was better?
All right. So let's get this out the way. Naomi versus Charlotte was an awesome match. Love that
Mm-hmm.
match. It's great. Back and forth. They actually made Naomi believable that she could take it off of Charlotte. And then great match, great back and forth, great finish. But of course, Charlotte wins. LOL. Baker and Rosa in that lights out. All I can say is holy shit. Like that match, I feel like did a lot for the AEW women, but not only AEW women, I think women in wrestling in general that showed like, yo, they could go out the box. If you let them get creative, they could put on a show. And we've seen it in WWE before. I think this was the first time seeing it out of WWE and seeing it in more of a violent, gory kind of match. That was like, whoa, we would have never thought we would have seen this, especially being on a random Dynamite. Not even like pay per view. Like pay per view, yeah, you pay for it. Like crazy stuff could always happen. But for this to happen on the show, it did the way it did, and then just both women just killing it, putting their all out there. And this is kind of like the match that when you talk about Britt Baker and the Thunder Rosa storyline or their rivalry, this is the match everybody goes to because it was so iconic. And at that time, I think right now it still is one of the best AEW, just best AEW matches, period, in the company.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal match. Phenomenal match. Reese,
But
which
shout out
match?
to Naomi and Charlotte still
Oh, of course, of
because they did
course,
kill it.
of
While
course.
I do While I do agree, Baker versus Rosa did a lot, especially for their feud and their rivalry. I'm like, oh yeah, these women, they hate each other.
Yeah.
Like, not surprised. Like, I'm like, they hate each other. But if we're coming down to so this one is gonna come down to personal taste,
Oh,
and
of
mine
course.
is
Yeah.
Naomi versus Charlotte, and it kind of puts to rest the Naomi can't work like rumors or the say. I don't know who said that, but
Yeah.
it
Never
showed
understood
that
that.
like
Yeah.
Naomi has always been a consistent worker. She just didn't have people that she had chemistry with, and now with this new
Yes.
crop of girls, and especially with Charlotte, especially they have chemistry. I would love to see anything they do. Put them in a best of 7. Okay, don't do that. Maybe 3. Best of 3.
Yeah, yeah,
Best of
yeah.
3.
Best of
Never mind.
5. Best of 5
Well,
is cool. Best
Yeah,
of
best
let's
of
five.
five.
Best of 5 is
Yeah.
cool.
uh, maybe like best of 7 throughout like the next couple of weeks. You
Right.
know.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe not. No.
But that was a good match. I agree with you, Reese. I mean, I do think this was like the match of like that showcased Naomi's in-ring ability. But I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to agree more with what Joel said about Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa, and I'm gonna choose that one
It's fair.
because this was yes the best women's match in AEW history, but you can also say the best match in AEW history, not just in women's. These two went to war. Like it wasn't a fight; it was a war. Just to clarify that, it was war, and these two
Yeah.
like this match was just brutal, and these two just brought out the best in one another. Even though I think the it should have been Britt Baker's match to win, not Thunder Rosa's,
1,000%.
and it was surprising. Like I remember watching it, I'm like, oh, they're going with Thunder Rosa here. It must be like a big push for her, but it really led to Britt Baker being the one that really got the better push afterwards. But it was a fun watch. I mean, it had a lot of great spots, and again, like I said with Monet and Statlander, people wanted to see more from it, and I think they should have gotten more. They should have had this feud should have been one that like kind of like how they had what was it? It was the Elite versus Death Triangle. They had best of 7. This is the should have been a best of 7
Yeah.
match. You could also say the same thing, or best of 5, as we should say, because 7 is too much. But this could have been a best of 3 or best of 5 match that I think people wouldn't have gotten tired of.
Yeah.
So these two went at it. I remember watching it, and it's like again a whole different conversation for a different day. The wrong winner won, but this match was it. And I agree with everything you said, Joel. With this kind of set the standard for the women's division in AEW going forward. And it brought out the best in everyone after that. So I'm gonna have to go with Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa here, in this month. Next match up, I should say, we have Paige versus Emma for the NXT Women's Championship at NXT Arrival, going up against Sasha Banks versus Bayley, the Iron Woman match
That's not even.
at Takeover Respect. Reese, do you want to start this one off? I feel like you want to.
Oh,
Yeah.
these
Started
are
off.
literally my 2 favorite women's matches in NXT history. These are my 2 favorites because Paige and Emma really set the standard for
Yes.
the women's division in NXT. And I remember this started me only watching NXT like Hulu. I
Yes.
binged all of it. I was like, wait, everyone's here. Why do I need to watch anything else?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why do I need to watch? Look, everything I need
Yup.
is right here. Like and that match, I just love it. However, Sasha versus Bailey, like this match walked so this match could run.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
I agree 100%.
they set the standard. They showed that the women's division is this is great. Now Sasha and Bailey said, "Oh, the women can main event. In fact, they will. In fact, they've been the consistently the best match on the card, and now they're reaping the benefits of that. Like they finally get their moment, their main event. So I got to go Sasha Bailey.
I mean, I'm going to agree with you, and I'm also going to choose Sasha versus Bailey. This is I know I said this a lot for other matches, but this was the greatest match in NXT history, not just women. Greatest match in NXT history. They put this match put both of them on the map for a lot of fans. I think this pretty much set the standard of these two are going to be Hall of Famers. Not maybe they will be Hall of
Will be.
Famers. And this was also a lot of. I feel like a lot of women today have said that match got them into wrestling. Inspired them to get them into wanting to become a pro wrestler because of them too. And these
Indy
two,
Hartwell.
yeah,
Yeah.
Indy Hart was one of them. I think even Cora Jade, Roxanne Perez, two influences from Sasha and Bailey. I know they did get they got their flowers from the match, and they actually got flowers after the match. I don't mean that, but they got their praise from it. You know, from the standing ovation, the whole locker room came out afterwards to show them their respects. And I believe this was the first one in Iron Women's match in history.
Yes.
I don't think there was one before that. So, you know,
And first women's main event of a PLE. Well,
yeah, first main event as well. So I think this match really set the standard for women's wrestling and WWE going forward. And shout out to both of them because they put on a fight. You know, this was more of a fight because there wasn't really a lot of you know, a lot of weapons or anything used. They were just they had a straight up fight. And I'm glad they got their second match afterwards at Brooklyn. So yeah, I'm gonna choose Sasha versus Bailey. Joelle.
I think this was the second match.
Yeah, this was the second one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was just gonna say that I'm gonna pick Sasha and Bailey. Because I agree with Reese. Like Paige and Emma walk so Sasha and Bailey could run. Like this was one of those matches, and I think it's solidified them because the Brooklyn one, like it was a fantastic match. But I remember like online there was a lot of people like it was too choreographed. Like they thought it looked funny. I thought it was a great match. I was there in Brooklyn live. That match stole the night. Of course, the main event was Owens and Finn. I couldn't even tell you what happened in that match because everybody was just off the high of Sasha and Bailey. But this Iron Women's match took it to another level and showed because I feel like the Brooklyn one was more like high flying stuff and doing a lot of moves to get the crowd into it. They showed that they could do that, but also slow it down and make you care about it just on a storyline base, like how Bailey was just working Sasha's arm the whole match, and Sasha with her heel worked the whole match. So like this match really solidified them as this is what the women of NXT look like, and this is what they wrestle like, and this is what if you come to NXT, this is what you're gonna see.
During Give Divas a Chance too, like it wasn't even riding the wave of Give Divas a Chance. It was like, okay, you see what they're doing in NXT. It just felt like a completely different WWE altogether. Like it was like NXT was doing this with the women, and then it was just like, but they're fighting for 2 minutes on Raw.
I was just gonna say that. I was gonna say Paige and Emma, I think went like 14 minutes or something like that. But the pay-per-view that month, the Divas match was like 3-4 minutes. So it's like crazy that it's just such a shift, and thank God for NXT, man.
I know.
Like
that was
goodness.
See, I don't mean to make it confusing, but I know before it changed. I had originally the Brooklyn one because I could have sworn the Brooklyn one was the Iron Woman match. And I told both of you this. And I'm like, I thought that was the same match. I forgot they faced twice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it was like one of those
because this one was like Sasha's goodbye to NXT.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought that. I was like, so I thought
that was the one that they brought the flowers and stuff. This one.
Yeah, that was this one that Charlotte and Becky came out too, or was it the other?
No, that was the Brooklyn one.
I thought that was the same one. I was like, wait, they have to come out.
Well, everyone came out on the stage for their.
Oh yeah, but like there was a picture of 4 of them in the ring.
No, yeah,
that was
the
Brooklyn
one. That was
they came out 4 horsewomen.
For some reason, I thought that was the same one. I was like,
that was supposed to be Sasha's goodbye, and they were like, let's run it back.
Yeah, they run it back. Yeah,
we gotta have the rematch. Come on,
exactly.
We have this main event. We have to.
Yeah, we're losing money if we don't do this.
Yeah. I mean, Joelle, you were there. How was it like being there? Because it must have been like a good moment.
It was incredible for the whole building to actually be focused on the women, because usually growing up it was always the women go to the bathroom, go to the merch stand, you know what I mean? I would always say, because I just love wrestling, but this was the first time that was the crowd was into it. Everybody was on their feet for it, on the edge of their seats waiting to see what would happen. And it's just incredible to see, even though that wasn't the start of it, that was the first show that I was at that I saw it, and I was like, wow, this is change is coming.
I know.
And I love it. It was awesome.
Man, I wish I was there to see that. I wish I was there to see
Same.
That
Same.
Brooklyn era was what a time, man.
that. Yeah,
What a time.
yeah. I think the last time there was a Brooklyn one was 2019, right? That was the year you
No, that was
graduated.
Toronto.
No, yeah, Toronto. They had 19. They had the Mania one in New York. That was the
Yes, that
Gargano
was
Adam Cole. Yeah, the last Brooklyn one was the one that Adam Cole showed up. I think that
really
was the last Brooklyn show.
2018.
Yes,
Then
I
yeah,
believe so.
2018.
Yeah,
Damn.
I went to take over Toronto. That was an experience.
that's
Oh, you
fire.
went to? That's sick. That's sick.
Yeah.
Was that the second Oscar Ember one, or was that Mickey James? That was Mickey James and Oscar.
It was Mickey James, Oscar, and it was
Yeah.
the cage match.
Oh
It was
yes, yeah,
Bruiserweight. He did.
Yes. Okay.
yes.
What?
What a time, man. We're just reminiscing about NXT takeovers.
NXT, man. NXT was just
Yeah,
different.
Black
I mean,
and
they're still
gold was
doing.
different.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
they're still
was.
doing their thing, but yo, NXT back then before
Black and
COVID was
gold.
just a different animal.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Shout out
Black
Triple
and
H.
gold was there.
Shout
Right.
out Triple H.
But Chef Michaels with the pod is doing his thing though.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Shawn Michaels.
Facts,
Black and gold was different. It was
Yeah,
Yeah.
Black and Gold was just a
different.
time. Triple H and William Regal, that duo right there,
Ooh,
couldn't do no
ooh.
wrong.
Them two should be in the Hall of Fame together, just for
Definitely, just put
Yeah.
them in the NXT wing.
that.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly. So, next matchup we have Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch in a last woman standing at WWE Evolution, versus Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair at WrestleMania 37 main event night 1. I'll start this one off.
Take it
I'm gonna
away.
choose the last woman standing match. Personally, even though it wasn't the main event Evolution, it should have main evented Evolution. The storytelling of that match of both of them just hating each other, wanting to tear each other apart was just, it's always going to be a banger of a match because it's Charlotte Flair versus Becky. They have the story, the chemistry. They want to fight each other. That's why every time they're in a match, and it's built up so well. And they both tore the house down. In my opinion, that night I think that was the match of the night. Their best match in each of their careers. I don't think any other matches were better. Because I would give the WrestleMania 35 main event
Don't do that.
that topped
Don't
it,
do that. Don't do
in
that.
my opinion. But I think individually, this was the better story and better match. It was 30 minutes, and it was amazing from start to finish. And these two always had great chemistry, and I've always loved seeing these two work together. And it was always fun and amazing. And again, like I said, even today, it's one of their best matches separately. Becky's best match and Charlotte's best match. So, gotta give this one to Charlotte versus Becky. Reese. Sorry. Go ahead.
I disagree.
Ooh.
I disagree wholeheartedly. You would give but before I pick my pick, you would give Charlotte versus Becky over Charlotte Sasha when she won on Raw when she won the title for the first time, and they did the bank statement over the railing.
God, forgot
I
about
mean
that.
yeah, but I think this was also what set the bar for the women's division on the main roster. You know what I mean? Because I think the story. What I didn't like about the whole Charlotte and Sasha thing was that it happened so often after that, to where I got tired of
That summer.
Yeah.
That summer was tough. That summer was tough. I'm not gonna lie.
The seesaw.
Exactly. So I got tired of it at a certain point, to where even though that moment was cool when Sasha was doing the bank statement on the railing, it was awesome, a great match. Not saying it wasn't, but I just felt like this one we didn't really see Becky versus Charlotte often. So when we did, it felt amazing every single time. Yeah.
Because they hated each other, and when Becky first became the man, she did turn on Charlotte. So I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I give credit to that match too. I love that match between Sasha and Charlotte, but I just felt like this one was the best match of individually their careers. So that's why I said that.
Yeah, I can definitely see it for Becky. 100%. Definitely see it for Becky. I'm gonna go Sasha Bianca. I don't know if it's the nostalgia thing. Again, first time two Black women main evented anything together, and I don't know if you know this, but
yeah.
But that aside,
I totally understand. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but that is again all that the emotion behind it and how it makes me feel individually. This match was Bianca Belair should not be this good at this as she
Yeah.
is, to have not done this long. She is homegrown WWE, and to see her, and also just had a little indie training beforehand, but like to see Bianca like excel and
Yeah.
put on that level of a match enough to where they trust you to main event after you've only been doing this 5 years at that point,
Yeah.
like total. Not you've been in
True.
WWE for 5 years. You've done this for 5 years.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this since you came in from your tryout to now.
Yeah.
It's
And I think that
insane.
is just a testament. I just do really think that's a testament of just the sheer ability and the storytelling behind that match as well. Now, don't get me wrong, like Charlotte versus Becky did have an amazing story where it's just like,
Yeah.
I lived in your shadow. I'm gonna beat you up. Like,
Basically, yeah.
yeah, so I love it, but I'm definitely gonna go Sasha Bianca.
Fair points. Fair points. Joel, you're in the hot seat now. What do you
Oof.
choose? Which match?
Sasha
This
and
is a tough
Bianca,
one.
man. I got Sasha and Bianca. I
Good
love
pick.
Charlotte and Becky. Great match. I just feel the Sasha and Bianca one, like that was Bianca's like WWE saying, okay, we got faith in you. That's why I was saying like 38 was solidified. Yo, you are the future. You're the star. I think this was more, let's see what Bianca could do if we put her in this spot. And
Okay.
she fucking killed it. And Sasha made her look incredible. Bianca made Sasha look incredible. I still think this was the best match of WrestleMania 37. Not night 1, not night 2 of WrestleMania 37.
Yeah.
I think this stole the show. Great way to put them as main event. As we remember what happened last time, there was a women's main event. We won't talk about that because it's not on this list, but they definitely got the redemption for it because they killed it. And it was the whole story of the underdog, the newcomer coming up, going against the vet she's the boss, this is her house. Can she defend it? And Bianca came in and took it from her, and what a match. What a
Yeah.
match, man.
And the emotion that Bianca
Yes.
had in the beginning before the match even started. That pretty
Before
much
the match
sums
when
it
she
up.
won it and her
Yeah.
family going crazy in the crowd,
Yeah.
like that was so awesome. I hate that happened with like not a full crowd. I hate that was the COVID crowd.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Over crowd. Ugh.
Yeah, it was still a good reaction though.
She had a moment. She had a moment.
Yeah,
That's
she got her moment. I mean,
that's the
better
best case
than
scenario.
I don't want to say nothing, but a better moment than Drew when there's no one in there. So at least she got that, right? At least she got that.
I mean, she debuted at that same Mania, by the way. She debuted at the same one.
Yeah, she did.
And it was random, but she's debuted, and
That
she
was
got a moment.
you remember that was the night after Mania. They kept changing the match. That was like a 1-on-1 match between one of the Street Profits and I forgot who it was. Then it became a tag
Andrade.
match. Then it became a mixed gender match. It was just a lot the night after Mania. But shout out Bianca. She went from that to main eventing a year
Yeah,
later.
well, you know, Drew McIntyre faced the Big Show at Mania.
Yes, that was the
year.
real main event
Yeah.
of WrestleMania 36. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
COVID was weird.
COVID
man.
was
it was
fun.
weird. That was so. Yeah.
COVID gave us
Cool.
some gems though, because
Yeah,
the
it
Money in the
did.
Bank ladder match was
Oh yeah,
amazing.
of course, that was awesome.
Yeah,
But there's a
yeah.
lot of questionable stuff that happened that like you bring
Yeah.
up and you're like, oh man, I even forgot about that.
Yeah, a lot we can. That's a whole different episode that we could do. Like weird stuff that
You
happened
could
during
just
COVID.
do a COVID episode, COVID recap.
Yeah, it could be.
Oh, my
COVID bracket.
goodness.
That's next.
Yeah, COVID
COVID
bracket.
Yeah.
The moments.
We're bringing you back on, Reese. We're making it official.
Best
But yeah.
Thunderdome moment.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the Thunderdome.
I forgot about the Thunderdome too. I don't know why, but that's
No, you try to forget about it.
yeah,
It
yeah.
happened,
That
though.
that
It
whole
happened.
2 years was just. I feel
I
like it
think
was a blur, but
yeah.
oh, man.
God. Let's
But
get on to
yeah.
the next thing. Let's stop talking about
Yeah. Let's talk about the
stuff
next
that's
one.
bringing us down, okay?
Yeah, let's be happy about this one. We have Britt Baker versus Chris Statlander at AEW All Out 2021 versus Mickey James versus Trish Stratus for the Women's Championship at WrestleMania 22. Who wants to start this one?
This is easy for me.
Oh, go
Easy
go
for you.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Mickey Trish. Mickey
Yeah,
Trish.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's just classic, and I was gonna pick it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it is a classic match. It was.
Is it better than this match? Technically, no.
I mean, it
I,
was a short match, wasn't it? It wasn't like it was like a 10 minutes something. It was not that long of a
No.
match. But
What it did?
listen. Yes.
yeah, I know what you're saying, Reese. I know what you're saying, Reese. I get it. I get it. Joel, were you gonna say something, Joel?
No, I was gonna say she's totally right. I agree. Mickey Trish, Baker Statlander. It was a great match. It kind of put the women's division on notice. Like, yo, this is like these are the up and comers. This is who you gotta watch out for AEW. But Mickey and Trish, like if you think about it, that was the first WrestleMania match with the women that actually had a storyline that wasn't a
Mhm.
month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This actually has carried on for a while with the crazy fan and the way that the whole match played out and the fans turning on Trish halfway through the match and going for Mickey. And it was just a wild time. And I remember I was going for Mickey at this time when I was watching. I was hoping because Trish, like, even though she was a babyface, we forget she was the heel, basically.
Yeah.
Like Mickey
Mhm.
made her babyface just because she was so crazy. But I also like just to point out, like it's so crazy how Mickey went from the crazy fan and she was able to get rid of that gimmick and not carry it on for so long and people forgot about it just because of the way that she was so good in the ring and also she could
Mhm.
talk on the mic and she could make you forget about that. And she had this whole persona. It was just awesome. And this was like the new era of the divas. Like
Yeah.
this was Trisha's, I believe this
Mhm.
was her last WrestleMania match. Mickey was kind of like passing the torch kind of moment. Of course, it wasn't like the passing of the torch of the women's revolution, but it was
Mhm.
a new era that was actually like, oh, these women are actually like having a wrestling match and going at it. It's just not here pulling for 3 minutes and a power bomb. Like they could
Right.
actually wrestle. So
Yeah.
that's why I gotta give it to Mickey and Trish because this match did a lot
Mhm.
more for women's wrestling than people give it credit for.
Oh, of course.
100%. They weren't
And
fighting over a man. They didn't fall out.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
like it was just.
Yes.
Exactly. Like
Exactly.
it had nothing to do with outside stuff. It was just them two and their beef. It had nothing to do with because always it had to do with the male talent and
Yes.
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
Reese stealing a man or doing something like that. So it was refreshing to actually have a women's storyline that was just about the women.
And I'm going to agree with both of you. I'm also going to choose the Mickey versus Trish match. And you took all the words out of my mouth, Joel. I was going to say pretty much everything you said. But this match was just the match was storytelling. Again, it
Yes.
wasn't a long match that we could remember, but it told a story throughout. It continued that. A lot of women's wrestling. I'm not saying it's in a bad way. It's all great spots, great wrestling, but this one was all storytelling. And again, it's just this whole character of Mickey being the crazy fan was just, even though she kind of transitioned out of that pretty quickly, it wasn't
Yeah.
anything like, she still became a legend afterwards, but she changed her character pretty quick, and it was a great way to introduce her into the company. Um, and like you said, it was a great story, a long build up to it. It made a lot of people care. Um, and the character work of Mickey was just amazing of what
Oh,
she can do.
100%. It was the
100%.
first women's storyline that also was like it blurred the lines because we were like, how
Yeah,
real is this? Like, do they
yeah,
really not fuck? Is she really this crazy? Like, it was one of
yeah,
those that was like, and that's why I think it did so much for the women because it's like that match, like, even though, like you said, 10 minutes maybe, it did
Mhm.
so much for the women.
yeah. 1,000%, 1,000%. We got the second round here. We're gonna start off with you, Reese, with this one. We have the first women's Royal Rumble match versus Mercedes Moné versus Chris Statlander. Which match do you think was better between the two?
Gotta still go with the first women's rumble. Gotta keep my pick the same.
Okay, okay. Joel, who do you have? Which one do you have? Who do you have?
We're gonna go with Monet versus Statlander because I kind of have a feeling where this is going, and I can't let them go out with a 0.
Ooh, 'cause now
Because
you're
I,
putting me
I
in the
love
hot
that
seat.
match. It was a great match. So I gotta at least have a 1 next to it.
Ooh, because I was stuck between these two
You're in the
because
hot seat, yeah.
I know it's difficult because you have two different scenarios here. You have Monet versus Statlander, who was just again straight out a great wrestling fight. But then you had the Rumble, which had the better and more importance of it.
Yes.
I'm just gonna give it to the first women's Rumble. I feel like that.
See, I knew where it was
Yeah.
going, Reese.
Yeah.
I had to get the one there. I couldn't go down 0. That's crazy. It's too good of a match to have 0.
True.
But
True.
I definitely agree. Like the first one was Royal Rumble. Like I said, it's my personal favorite women's Royal Rumble, and like you said, it's done so much for the women and also the nostalgia of it too. Because it was like I said in the first round, like seeing women from the past, seeing women from the present, and now that it's awesome that they put the NXT women in it. You see the women of
Yeah.
the future.
And I remember in the build-up when they first announced it originally, they had Stephanie announce it. She was in the ring, all the women on the stage. That moment itself
that
was
was cool.
all just, it showed how big of a deal every single one of their reactions when they showed them on TV. It was just, again, like I said, being the first round, from the first announcement till right after, they made it feel super important.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is women's wrestling, and this is what we're gonna do going forward. Everything the men get, we get. So that whole entire story was just amazing and booked perfectly. So
Exactly.
it was too far. It was, again, Monet versus Statlander was amazing, a great wrestling match, but the importance of the Rumble had to exceed to the Final Four.
Yeah,
but
it wasn't the same.
yeah, definitely wasn't the same. Then the second round, we have Asuka versus Ember Moon for the NXT Women's Championship at Takeover Brooklyn 3 versus Sheeta versus Jamie Hayter in December 2022 Dynamite. Joel, which match do you think was better between the two?
I'm gonna just ask a question. Are we gonna go through this, or is it Oscar and Ember Moon? It's Oscar and Ember, right?
Well, it depends, Reese. So do you agree with us, or do you have?
It's a clean. Come on.
Clean sweep. Okay.
We talked 10 minutes about this match, and then how we not gonna have it move on? Yeah, come on, man.
No worry. Yeah, that is true. There's nothing much. We said
I saw
all
the matchup. I was like, hold up. Do we even have to argue this? Like
it's very close.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
Love Sheeta and Hater, but come on, Oscar and Ember, that was different, man.
Yeah, this one I feel like this next matchup could have a conversation.
This one we could argue a little bit about.
Yeah, Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa in the Lights Out match in March 2021 versus Sasha versus Bayley, a 30-minute Iron Woman match at NXT Takeover. Joel, I'm gonna start with this one again. Which one was your favorite match?
All right, cool. Love the Baker and Rosa. We talked about like what it did for the women of AEW, but also the women in wrestling in general. It showed that they were tough. You could put them in any situation, and they could do just as the men, maybe even better in certain situations. But because of bias, and Sasha is Sasha, I have to give it to Sasha and Bayley.
Okay, that's a good pick.
I love the match. Come on, man.
Yeah.
I think both of these matches did the same thing for their promotions, but Sasha Bayley did it first, so I gotta go with Sasha Bayley.
That's a good
true.
One.
That is true. I'll say the same thing, another clean sweep, but I'm gonna pretty much say what we said in the first round when we said with Paige and Emma, Sasha versus Bayley walked so Baker and Rosa can run.
That is true. Yeah.
You know, again, the only argument I have for the Sasha and Bayley is just that's what got a lot of women into wrestling. Without that match, we wouldn't see a lot of stars today, and you know, who knows what we'll have. You know what I mean? This is
because it inspired so many people. Like, who knows what the roster would have looked like if that rivalry never happened?
Yeah.
Time is weird because it's like Indy Hartwell is in the she's not in there anymore, unfortunately.
Which is wild, but
wow.
On.
But she became a WWE superstar because of that match, and you're just like, wait, how much time? Wait a minute.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then you realize how long time is weird.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like it was from. I think she signed with WWE like not that long after. So 2019, 2020. Yeah, I think she got a big break in the early pandemic. So it didn't seem like she was signed for that long. But yeah, it's just Indy Hartwell was one of them. And
because wasn't the wedding Thunderdome era?
The wedding, no, the wedding. I think the wedding was 2.0. I think that was the first 2.0.
Oh, it was
That might
2.0.
even be
Yeah.
worse.
No, Joel,
That might
no.
even be-
Don't
I
talk shit about
I
2.0.
think I'd rather take the Thunderdome than 2.0. 2.0 at the beginning was weird.
2.0 at the beginning was
Oh
weird.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, the
come
beginning,
on.
yeah, a
Yeah,
little
because
weird.
2.0
where
at
did
the
Von
beginning
Wagner
was
come from? I'll never forget the first
Oh
episode.
yeah,
It's like Von Wagner in this match, and I'm just like, who is
yeah,
that?
like
they put him
they
with
would try
Kyle
to push him
O'Reilly.
hard. They would try to push him hard
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, there were a lot of people that
Come
I'm
on.
looking at. I
2.0
forgot.
was weird. Okay,
Yeah,
so I'd rather
I
take
enjoy it
NXT
now.
and COVID, like the Thunderdome era.
yeah, I agree with Reese. I enjoy it more than back then. At least now it's more enjoyable to watch, and it's
Yeah, that
like,
is true. Yeah, they
yeah,
finally picked it up after that little stint that they pulled.
But
yeah,
They tried with the
Braun Breaker
splatter. They
thing
were
was in
like,
there.
"Oh
But
yeah,
I
we're
always was
cool."
sold on Braun. I was always sold on Braun Breaker
Very
from the
true.
beginning.
Yes.
There. So,
Tiffany was also an early product 2.0, so that came out of
Yeah.
it.
yes.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Always been
when did
high on
she
her early.
shine? She shined though when they started switching it up, when they started ramping up again.
That's also because she was injured.
That is true.
When she
But
got injured and she was
Yeah.
out for a few months, and then she came back and really, I was really sold on her. And then her performance in that ladder match,
Oh
yes.
I was
You
like,
can't
give her the
forget.
title.
You can't forget Toxic Attraction was also a product of
Very
2.0.
true. Yeah.
Yes.
So that was also a good thing.
I'll still
to see out
die
of
on
that.
this hill 2.0. Wow. They made me stop watching NXT for a little bit. Like,
I for valid reasons, valid reasons.
So, yeah, I get that because to go from black and gold, the grit, the like, this is
Yeah.
yeah.
wrestling, to it kind of gave WCW like Surfer Sting is on his way. Like
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
it did. It gave like
Yeah.
WCW Saturday Night vibe. And I was like, no, I'm good. I'm real cool on this.
Yeah.
or
Very
WWE
true.
pre Attitude Era it gave
Yes.
Ultimate Warrior.
God,
Like
with all the gimmicks and stuff. Yeah, that was.
yes,
Oh,
Yeah.
man. All right, but
Very true.
yeah, shout out
Very
but I
Black
true.
and
stuck it
Gold,
out. I
baby.
stuck it out.
Yeah,
I
I
did.
Yeah.
respect it. I respect it because I left.
But
I
but
respect it
they
because I
did show.
left.
I think a lot of people did leave, but I think the more you start, because you're like, oh, these are good. Because I think Chase, you threw a lot of people off too, but then you realize like, oh wait,
Yeah,
they're really good. So
actually,
Yeah.
yeah, they're entertaining.
Yeah. That's very true. Very true.
2.0,
But shout
yeah,
out
you had to
shout
stick
out
with it.
to all NXT. All NXT was still good in a way. So they made the
In a
best out of
way.
it. Yeah, no, I'm being
Anyway,
serious. I'm not saying in a negative way, but
Nah,
in a
just the
way
way
they're
you
real good.
said it, it was
yeah.
like in a way.
Anyway.
In a way, yeah. But the last matchup in the first round, we do have Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair at WrestleMania 37
Ooh.
versus Mickey James versus Trish Stratus WrestleMania 22. I'll start this one off. I'm gonna go with Sasha Banks versus Bianca because again, the importance of this one. Yeah, technically it wasn't the first women's main event, but it was a bigger moment in my opinion than the first
Yeah.
one. The importance of heading into it, the story of Bianca being the up and comer, the emotion from the start to the end of the match, to making Bianca a star, and then Sasha continued to be a star, um, and it was the highlight of that weekend between these two.
Yes.
Mickey and Trish had their own right to being special in different ways, but um, I just feel like Sasha and Bianca meant more to wrestling after that. I feel like it maybe in a couple years from now, people can talk about Sasha versus Bianca like they did with Sasha and Bailey. Um, they maybe that moment got them into wanting to become a wrestler, or where both of them inspired, or someone inspired, or Sasha and Bianca were inspired others to become a wrestler. Who knows? But I feel like the importance of that one had to. I don't think anything going forward can top this one.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to go with Sasha. Bianca Reese, which match do you think was better in your opinion?
Sasha Bianca is not even close for me. The implication is just like us. This match for
Yeah.
me, like yes, it might inspire people to like become a wrestler, but it inspired me, and I'm kind of old, and I've been a wrestling fan for my entire life since I was 4, and I'm 32 now. So you do the math.
Wow.
So I've seen wrestlers that look like me, but not main event. So it's just like for me, even as an adult, I was inspired by it. So I'm always gonna go Sasha Bianca.
Yeah, I mean, good reasons.
Oh,
Good reasons. Joel, are you gonna clean the sweep? Clean
Nah,
sweep this one?
Nah, can't let Nikki go out like that. Put that one there. I knew it was gonna come down like this. Yeah, I know
Okay.
how I feel about Sasha and Bianca, but Nikki and Trish holds a special
You
place in
got
my
you need
heart.
to
I couldn't see the sweep.
Yeah. You're just being nice. You're just being nice,
Of
Joel. But
course. Come
yeah.
on, man.
Yeah.
I can't let it go down like that.
True. Makes sense. I agree. But we do have a final four. Um,
Ooh.
the first one in the final four, we got the first women's Royal Rumble versus Asuka versus Ember Moon at NXT Takeover Brooklyn 3. Whew. Joel, do you want to?
Let's kick it off. I got Asuka versus Ember Moon.
Okay.
I think that match is too important for me not to pick it. I love the women's Royal Rumble, even though I don't think I've picked it at all, except for the last round.
Yeah.
But like I said, that is my favorite women's Royal Rumble so far. This year comes a close second, but that year was just very special. But Asuka and Ember, and of course biased because I was there. It was just something special that was like, well, like to see people care about it that way and actually like seeing Ember beamed up and Comer almost taking away the undefeated streak. You're on the edge of your seat. You like
Yeah.
to me growing up, I was never like that with women's wrestling. So like to see the women's wrestling and the matches that have me like that, I gotta go with them, Asuka and Ember.
That's good reasonings. Good reasonings. Reese, which match was your favorite between the two?
This one got me sweating.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I'm sweating too, Reese. Don't
Oh,
yeah, I'm on the
Tough
same
one.
page.
because of the importance of the first women's rumble, but then it's just like Emma versus Asuka. I just gotta go with what I enjoyed watching more and what had me like can you do it? Can you do it? And because it was like, okay, the first women's rumble, like I knew Asuka was gonna win.
Yeah.
I knew she was.
It was kind of
like,
leaning that way, yeah.
I knew she was gonna win. She was my pick to win, and then she did. And so for me, I was like, but Asuka versus Ember Moon, that was the first time when I felt like maybe Asuka's not gonna win. So I'm gonna go Asuka Ember Moon just because of how it made me feel.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, that would have me sweat though.
No, yeah, that was a tough one.
It was. Joel, I'm going to use your tactic, Joel, and I'm going to be nice. And I'm going to
Okay.
choose the first women's rumble because
Got
of
you.
I'm a rumble person. I love the rumble.
It's my favorite.
No,
Yeah.
the Rumble's
And
awesome.
even if it was predictable, it was still like it was a great match. It was again a lot of great surprises, a great way to honor women of all past, present, and future. You know, and I believe Ember Moon was a part of it too. And so to see, you know, everyone being honored and seeing the match go down, it was super fun from start to finish. So was Asuka versus Ember Moon, but just didn't want to see the women's rumble being swept.
You can't see that zero, man. I
Yeah.
feel you.
Yeah, I get it. I had to use your tactic.
Yeah.
But
I
this
don't
is
like
also a
this
tough
one.
one. This is a tough one. Next matchup, we have Sasha Banks versus Bayley, the 30-minute Iron Woman match, versus Sasha Banks versus Bianca at WrestleMania 37 Night 1. Whew. Who wants to get this one off? Because this is tough.
I'll kick it off.
Okay.
I'll kick it off. Because this is not Sasha versus Bayley in Brooklyn, I'm going with Sasha versus Bianca.
Ooh. Explain yourself, Joel. Explain yourself.
Sasha versus Bianca had me more excited than the Sasha versus Bayley too. It was a great match, but of course you knew Sasha was losing. Like she came back for the rematch only. She was already in the storyline with Team Bat. You know what I mean? Like you knew what was happening. Sasha versus Bianca had you on the edge of your seat because it was like, are they gonna go with the rookie? Do they have faith in Bianca? Or is this just something to lift Sasha even more up and put her on another level? And then the match that they had as well, strictly in ring, I would have to go with Sasha and Bianca as well. I feel like it was more exciting. Of course, Sasha and Bayley was trying to prove a point that they could do the slow pace while also doing the high flying stuff.
Yeah.
But Sasha and Bianca, like I said, best match of WrestleMania that year. They stole the show.
True. That is so true. Reese, who do you have? Which match do you have? Sasha versus Bayley or Sasha versus Bianca?
Okay.
This is
Without Sasha versus Bayley, main eventing, respect. I don't think WWE would have had the faith in Sasha to now take it to a main event. of WrestleMania. So I gotta go Sasha Bailey. I gotta go Sasha Bailey. I know
Whoa.
Ooh.
I gotta go Sasha Bailey because
Whoa.
we had to get to the first one somehow.
Yeah,
First
you are
event
right.
of a
You
pay
are
per view.
Yes,
you are
yes,
correct.
that is 1000% true, and I'm gonna agree with you, Reese. I'm gonna be on your side,
Whoa.
and I'm gonna choose Sasha
Testament to
versus
Sasha because they said you can do a main event.
yeah,
We trust you.
and exactly same thing for Bailey too. But that match was just again just same thing with as I said with the Royal Rumble match. It was like this was the standard of the women's division. They once that match happened, it was like, oh, this is what the woman can do. Let's give it one more time.
I
Without
could see that. I just think the Brooklyn one was like, yo, this is them, and then this one was more of like, oh, goodbye, Sasha.
yeah, I get it, but I
I
feel
do
like
love this match though, but that's just how I see it.
this women's match without this Bailey versus Sasha match at the Iron Woman match, we wouldn't have gotten a lot we've gotten today. We wouldn't have
No, you're
gotten the
right.
first Rumble. We wouldn't have
You're
gotten
right.
Sasha versus Bianca at Mania.
You're right.
Um,
I'm just saying I would
yeah, no,
rather
yeah,
rewatch Bianca versus Sasha. Nah, fuck with
So
you.
if this is Brooklyn,
yeah. But both of
so
them
if
were
this
good. It
if
was just
this was the Brooklyn one, you would have picked the Brooklyn
Oh,
one.
the Brooklyn one, yeah. Are you kidding me? The Brooklyn one was incredible.
If it was
I
if
think
it was
that's the
Sasha versus
greatest
Bailey at
women's
Brooklyn
rest.
versus Sasha versus Bianca.
yeah. I mean, I originally had the Brooklyn one on it, but I
Yeah,
made a mistake. But it was
Brooklyn would have swept everything for me. Brooklyn
yeah.
was, I think, is the greatest women's match to ever happen.
Okay, okay.
That's a
That
strong statement, but I'm gonna
it
stand on.
is.
I will die
Hmm.
on that hill. I will
I
die on that
mean,
hill.
I get it.
Yeah, I totally understand. Totally understand. It makes sense. But now we have the finals.
This is
This is
tough,
the
man.
finals of this bracket. We have Asuka versus Ember Moon NXT Takeover Brooklyn 3 for the NXT Championship versus Sasha Banks versus Bailey also for the NXT title. 30-minute Iron Man match at NXT Takeover Respect. Um, I'm going to start this one off because I know my answer.
Started off.
And I'm going to choose the same one that I chose the last one, and that's Sasha versus Bailey. Um, again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it's just factual statement in my opinion. This was the centerpiece of the women's division. People wanted change. These two made that change on one match. Well, technically the second one, too, or this was the second one, whichever one came first. But this one was the stamp of like, okay, now the women's division is getting a change, and it will change. And because of this match, we wouldn't see a lot of things that we see today. Yes, Oscar versus Ember was a great match, phenomenal match, but Ember Moon on the map in my eyes. But Sasha versus Bailey was, I don't think anything could top that. I know Joel, you have a different opinion on that, but I think nothing could top this 30-minute Iron Woman match going forward, because that would be the greatest women's match of all time, in my opinion. So I'm gonna have to choose that one. Reese, who do you have? Oscar versus Ember Moon or Sasha versus Bailey?
Uh,
Be honest. Go to what your heart's telling you.
this one
Go
is
with your heart.
hard, but I am gonna go Sasha versus Bailey because again, like now it's coming down to like nitpicking little things at this point. It's like, oh, okay, well, this was the first main event, so let me go with that. Or but it's just like, but Oscar and Ember Moon,
Yeah,
it was just they took it to another level. Like Ember
they did.
brought that Japanese strong style, and Oscar brought that Japanese strong style. And Ember just took it, like, and she looked like
Yeah,
a star out there. But then you have Sasha Bailey, who their story ended in this way. This Jordan give divas a chance where they were
yeah,
really trying to, the women's evolution was happening. They were really trying to, so I just gotta give it to Sasha Bailey.
yeah. That is true. Joel, is it a clean sweep, or are you going with Ember Moon
Oscar
versus
and
Oscar?
Ember. Oscar and Ember. That Sasha and Bailey match is even this third best match against each other. I respect it. Yeah, it did a lot. But Oscar and Ember, I'm looking at matches. That was way more exciting for me than a second Sasha and Bailey match. And I think the Sasha and Bailey Iron Man match was ruined for me because of the Brooklyn match. And I was just like, whoa,
Um,
what's going to happen now? And I watched the Iron Man match. And I was like, this was cool. This was awesome that they got to do this. They try to hype it up like it was going to be bigger and better. I thought it was a great match. Of course, Takeover Brooklyn takes the cake on that. But match wise, I would have for these two, I would have to go with Oscar and Ember, just for just the unpredictability of it, the story going in, and everything that went around it. I get it. Sasha and Bailey were important, but
Yeah.
Asuka and Ember, if you think about it, they had to hold that fort down when those two left.
Left.
And without
Yeah.
Asuka, a lot of stuff in NXT doesn't get pushed forward. Even though she didn't put Ember over, Ember became a star that night. And because of that, we got the Ember we have today. Without this Asuka match, we don't have the Asuka that wins the Rumble. This was
Yeah.
just
Fair,
another
fair.
brick on the house that she was building of Asuka.
That's
I
fair.
get that.
Shout out
That is
Asuka and
fair.
Ember,
I get
man.
that.
Shout out Sasha and Bailey too.
Shout out to
I know.
Asuka.
Shout out to everyone in this match. I mean, we do have a
Yes.
winner.
Great bracket.
Of Sasha versus Bailey. The Iron Woman match was declared between the three of us the greatest women's match of all time.
Yes, sir.
Great bracket, fun bracket, and thank you, Reese, for coming
this was
on
fun.
and shooting this bracket with us and
Yeah,
doing
so
it
much
with
for
us.
having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
No,
I'm
yes,
gonna
it's
ask one
awesome.
more thing from you, Reese, and that
Mhm.
is to plug your stuff in. Where can people find you?
All right, so I am 1/4 of the Lip Gloss and Ladders podcast. You can find us at Lip Gloss in the letter N Ladders. You can find me on Instagram at Genius3 and at Reese Plays Games X. That is my gaming Instagram. Yeah, fun. This is
Awesome.
fun.
Yeah, this was. I'll make sure to include everything in the description of the YouTube video so that people can follow you, subscribe to you,
Okay.
and watch out for you and everything you do going forward. Again, we appreciate it, Reese.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Again, this is Nick with Joelle and Reese, and we'll see you guys next episode.
Catch ya.